Craig, would you sell Nunes or VVD if you get more? No, I wouldn't sell VVD. There's just no world, Oisín, where I'd sell VVD. I'd sell Nunes tomorrow. And I say this as somebody who only wanted him to succeed, and have no ill feeling towards the lad whatsoever. It's just, to me, one of those transfers that hasn't worked out for anybody. And there's interest in him not only from Italy, but also from Saudi Arabia. I have no idea if the idea of a move to Saudi Arabia is of any interest to Darwin Nunes and his family. I don't know that, so I won't speak on his behalf, but I would certainly sell him, yes. Because we're going to do it one way or the other. And I'm very much of the mindset of, if you look at your squad and you think you can improve any area of it, be ruthless. That's genuinely what I feel. When we go into a transfer window, the question I ask myself at the end of every transfer window is, have we improved the squad, the outlook from the start of the window to now? A lot of the time the answer to that question has been no. And I also understand the love for Darwin. I totally understand it. It's not misplaced. He's a likeable guy. But you can't just bury your head in the sand. We have 2.5 years of sample size of Darwin Nunes, and he just isn't cutting the mustard. He just isn't. All the goodwill and good intention in the world isn't going to change the fact that he's just not that guy. Darwin is better than Jota. No, he's not. That's just fucking stupid. I'm sorry to be so rude about it, but that is just an absolutely ridiculous opinion. There's no world where Darwin Nunes is a better player than Diogo Jota for Liverpool. Not a chance. So this report here from Caught Offside around Darwin said, Arne Slot has held a series of talks with Darwin Nunes over improving his performances, with a possible transfer out of the club not ruled out. Nunes has been told very clearly that he needs to be more consistent and contribute more to the team, according to this report from Caught Offside. I mean, the only part of that I can certainly speak to is, like I said a few days ago, he is available if the right offer came in. And, I think it's acknowledged by the club now that, he's just not going to be here for the long term. Question is, would you sell Chiesa or Darwin to get Kvaratskhelia? We will get better value for keeping Chiesa. That's true if Arne Slot actually puts him on the pitch. I have to say, I was very frustrated last night at the lack of minutes for Chiesa, because I think the game could have justified it. Mo looked leggy, which is understandable, by the way. He's played a lot of football, so I didn't see why we didn't give him 10 minutes. That really winds me up when someone just on a bench, taking a wage, and the manager doesn't seem to trust him to get minutes. You start to ask, well, if he's on the bench, you've got to admit he's fit, or at least fit to come on and get a few minutes. And he's never going to get a chance to prove himself if he doesn't get on the pitch. So the whole situation to me is a frustrating one that I thought last night would have called for a good shout to give him a few minutes. Look, some of you people need to grow up. Let me just say that bluntly in the chat. Some of you need to grow up. All this Chiesa is getting too much hate. Do you understand what hate is? Because I don't think you do. I think you see people who talk about somebody you like and ask questions that they feel are valid questions and interpret that as hate. I've not seen a single bit of hate towards Federico Chiesa. And I'm sitting here defending the man, saying he should be getting minutes yesterday. So for all this bullshit in the chat about people need to stop giving Chiesa hate, nobody's giving him hate. So stop calling out stuff that isn't there. Because I don't like my fellow fans being criticised for stuff that isn't actually happening. Same with the whole stuff about Endo. Like, in the conversation with David earlier, it was like, well, if fans don't want Endo, but no, fans love Endo. But he's not getting minutes. And we ain't the ones that aren't picking him. You can't be blaming Liverpool fans. We're not the ones not putting Chiesa on the pitch. We're not the one not trusting Darwin in defensive midfield. So it becomes a little bit frustrating as a fan when the manager's making these decisions and we're being told that there's no space in the squad to bring players in when we have players that clearly he doesn't trust yet. And to square those two circles off in my head is frustrating, because you either believe in somebody or you don't. And we've been very patient as a fan base and allowed 6 months to get Chiesa fit. And he hasn't got to a point where the manager thinks what was once a mini pre-season, remember, became a 6-month slog. Then he gets into team squads because he's fit enough and he's still not getting a sniff. So what's the point in having these guys around if they're not being trusted? That's just taking up a place on the bench. And there's one thing I did agree with David on earlier, and that's if ruthless decisions need to be made, somebody needs to man up and start making them. Because I can understand why the club bought him. You know, it's a chance at a bargain and it could work out very well if he gets on the damn pitch. Matt said, I wholeheartedly agree with you. Could be mint, but we won't know if he gets no minutes. And that's it. I think that's the frustration for a lot of fans. There's been loads of goodwill towards Chiesa because loads of people love the idea of Chiesa at Liverpool. Everybody like me was won over immediately by Federico Chiesa. His signing day video, it was brilliant. And I commented on it at the time so much. It was heartwarming to see how excited he was. And I was buzzing for the lad. And I'm thinking, right, this can be an absolute bargain. Get Chiesa ready, unleash him on the Premier League, and let's make this look like the biggest bargain of the past 10 years. But if he's not getting minutes, it's very difficult for fans to just sit there and think, why? MBN said, hear me out for a second. Is it me, or would the Joelinton approach work on Darwin? I think he has the energy for a box-to-box midfielder. I just don't think we have the need for a box-to-box midfielder. Certainly not one that cost us €100 million or there or thereabouts. So no, I get where you're coming from. You're not the first person to make that shout, and I don't think you'd be the last, but not for me personally anyway. Liam said, surely it's Nunez out, Kvara in. If there's a buyer there, Liam, for Nunez, yeah, maybe. The only thing that I know for certain here from reports today is that Napoli have Federico Chiesa as one of the two options to replace Kvaratskhelia should they lose him. I think personally Chiesa was not Sloth's choice of signing. That's why he's not playing him. See, Mohamed, I'm open to that being a possibility, my friend. But what I'm not open to is then being told by the same manager or the club that we don't have space in our squad and they can't find improvements anywhere. You see what I mean? This is what does my head in at the minute, mate. Too many people in the football fan world, I believe, are too naive. The club have to say certain things. The manager has to say certain things. But we don't have to always believe everything is gospel. Because football is smoke and mirrors, cloak and daggers. It's bluffing 101. And it's like somebody saying to you everything's grand when the house behind you is on fire. You know it's not right. But we all have to play along because, that's the right thing to do in some scenarios. But I just think people are often naive and just say, oh well, somebody said this, so therefore it's gospel. They have an agenda, though. They're not going to come out and say everything's shit and things aren't great. So, yeah. That's my take on it. Don't believe everything.